Hello boys and girls.
Hello.
Today I'm off on an adventure with Georgie Boy here from the YouTube channel Valerex. I will put a link to his channel in the description. If you like wee tours around spooky castles and buildings and stuff, he's your man. So here we are, Sunnyside Hospital, Scotland's first ever lunatic asylum. You can't check out the loony bin without checking out the loony's toilets first. There's some old school wheels on that beast there, look at that. That'll be worth a pretty penny all done up and restored. I used to have the exact same headlamp thing on my bike. Probably, I think that is my bike. It got stolen back in 1974. Back to the scene of the crime, mate. Back to the hospital I was born in, eh? Sunnyside Hospital. It was founded in 1781 and was originally called Montrose Lunatic Asylum. And if my research is correct, it was the very first ever public asylum in Scotland. I wonder what the rest of him is if he's only pert Bruce. So you're probably asking yourself, what would actually merit me being admitted into a lunatic asylum back in the day? Well, I found a list of things that I've picked a few favourites, but I'll try my best. I will really try my best to remember and put a link to this list in the description because everybody has to see this for themselves. But anyway, here's just a list of a few shite park bench, by the way, worst park bench in the world. Anyway, here is a list of my favourite things from that list. Reasons for being admitted into a lunatic asylum back in, and this list is from 1864. Right, here's my favourites. Top of the list, getting kicked in the head by a horse. Got kicked in the head by a horse, straight jacket that guy up. Laziness will get you locked up in a lunatic asylum. Masturbation for 30 years will get you locked up in a lunatic asylum. I'm fucked there, man. And get this, suppressed masturbation will also get you locked up. So you can't win. You could pull the head off it, or you could leave it alone. Either way, you're getting a straitjacket for your troubles. If you're a woman and you've read a novel, lunatic asylum. If you discuss politics, lunatic asylum, that would be perfect nowadays. Religious enthusiasm, lunatic asylum. Loss of a lawsuit, lunatic asylum. So if you just lost a court case, so you've just had your ass kicked in court, you've just had your ass kicked in court, you're getting locked up for it. Locked up into the bargain. Here is what I call the upside down tree. I love it. It's a spooky tree. It looks like it's been planted upside down. Anyway, back to this list. Desertion of husband. If your husband left you, locked up. If you have asthma, I'm not even kidding you, locked up. Bad whiskey, locked up. Now, you do deserve locked up in a lunatic asylum if you think you could hand me a really terrible whiskey. You deserve it. Gunshot wound, locked up. Now here's the best one. Fighting fire. If you fight a fire, you're getting locked up. Like, how can you possibly, like, if your house is on fire, you just need to deal with it. Anyway, I'm going to put a link in the description. Check that list out yourself. Clear. Now, due to the rising numbers of loonies, additional buildings were added to Sunnyside. That's what additional means, Frankie.
The lights are in.
And even with these new buildings, overcrowding was still a problem. By the year 1900, the amount of nutjob patients had grown to 670. And so 2 new buildings were built again, and guess who paid for that expense? Well, it wasn't any of us. Anyone listening to this or watching this right now, you didn't pay for it. Your taxpayer money never paid for it. We weren't even born then. In fact, your granddad wasn't even born then. So stop complaining. It wasn't you. It wasn't your taxpayers' money. In 1911, the lease for Sunnyside farm expired and the 52 acres were bought by the hospital to extend their patient stockpiling facilities. Look at that. Dirty Arabs everywhere. There was no mention of the farmer who used to lease these 52 acres. My guess is he probably became one of the patients, locked up for talking to his cows or something. Two minutes.
That's a minute and a half longer than normal.
During the 60s, the introduction of new drugs, of course it was the 60s, the introduction of new drugs meant that there was less need for long-term patients and even lessened the admission of patients. So when my family members were properly medicated, they no longer needed to stay in the hospital, and sadly, Sunnyside Loony Bin closed its doors in 2011. Hey man, keep the dogs in. Right.
Is that a shot?
That's a shot, man. That's a shot. Nobody's getting out of there. We're in mad seagull territory now, boys and girls. This is clearly where they all nest. There was thousands of them. It was like something out an Alfred Hitchcock movie, but with colour. Actually, wait a minute, was the birds in colour? It might have been in colour. I don't know. See ya. Oh, let the shite in now, mate. It's time to go. They're dropping bombs. So now that we've figured out the bus only goes to there, we can't leave the place. We're just going to make a run for it. That way. Let's do it, Georgie boy. Thanks for tuning in. Ta-ta!